Sure.
And would anyone want a container for a data center? And if they
And
would,
that did not come from, wait, no,
Yeah.
I guess it did.
I
I
think-
want to know if people actually are going to deploy this.
right? It's a very interesting topic, and it is a direction that the industry is looking at, and it's an important topic for data center owners as a whole.
And there's a huge number of questions about it. Is it real? I mean, is this going to be something that gets deployed? And not from the company that actually manufactures the containers themselves, but just from a concept.
Absolutely.
Right? You got people like Microsoft that are actually building out 500,000 square foot data centers all based on containers. That's a significant leap to
That's
jump
a
in and
major
do that.
investment. Absolutely.
But there must be something behind it. So you look at it, Sun has a container, HP's got one, IBM has one, Rackable, Ferrari, everybody's getting in the space.
Yep.
So this is the kind of stuff we want. And another thing, so these are just LinkedIn questions that have come across the group, and we expect quite a bit more as more people are joining the group. We also did the very first Data Center Pulse roundtable at one of the AFCOM chapter meetings in Northern California here last week. And it was great. So I want you to get an idea here of what the lineup looked like. So we had this guy from VMware, I don't know who it was.
Some loser.
And then we had eBay, we had Apple, we had Cisco, we had Stanford, and we also had, let's see.
IDS.
IDS, which is the data centers on the ships,
Yep.
right? We had the CEO over there, and that was a really fun piece. And of course, Sun was on there. I was moderating the panel. And we had a whole bunch of questions that we wanted to go back and ask. And as we did this, I really thought, we should be filming this, or we should be recording this, or doing something with this
Absolutely.
content. So that's where this idea around creating a show for it came from. So this first episode is really for us to introduce the group, and then we're going to start to have lots of topics coming back out. And we want to take it from LinkedIn. We want to take it from these roundtable panels. But we also want to get you guys to tell us what we should be talking about and who we should be inviting here into that. So let me give you an idea. At the Data Center Pulse Roundtable back in Santa Clara, the first thing was, of course, why did you join this panel? A number of these people aren't public. They don't go out and talk about their data centers. They're pretty reserved when it comes to that stuff. And I think it came down to we're peers, and it was the network. And I asked, would you guys come up and actually just chat? You don't have to tell me the specifics about your data center inside or the business strategy and that type of thing, but just talk about the challenges you have. And that worked out well. And the very first question that we had from besides that was, why the hell would you put a data center on a ship? So that was the question right out to Ken Choi, who's the CEO of IDS, the floating buildings. And he had one of his investors in the audience, so that was a great question. But then it went back from, would people actually put anything on that ship? Would the people on the panel do it? And at the initial part, it was, yeah, maybe. And as it was discussed, I think people became more open to it. Just like, would you build a container-based data center versus a brick and mortar? And then the other one is, of course, is PUE, the right metric.
Yep,
And I think that was probably the one that had the most debate. It was great because we disagreed.
Yep.
We never disagree, right?
We don't ever disagree.
Yeah, okay. We always disagree. But the great part was that discussion was very fruitful, very, very useful. And the other part, Tier 4 versus resiliency in applications. Why would you build a Tier 4 data center versus a Tier 1 and put resiliency in your applications and fail between the sites? Why not?
In other words, why would you want the mother of all data centers?
Right. You want a cheap, simple thing, and you want the resiliency up there so that you can just fault wherever you want across the world. The other part was, how do you handle growth? I mean, you look at Apple, they're exploding. You look at any one of those people. Cisco is also they're building more data centers.
eBay?
At eBay. I mean, their listings are going through the
VMware?
roof. Yeah. And I look at Stanford, and they had some really good examples for, they said that they're building out this great big, energy efficient, air side economizer thing. And in the middle of it, they needed data center space. So they bought a container, deployed it. Then they bought another container, deployed it in the time it took for them to finish the design only of the brick and mortar data center. Very interesting that was a time to market thing for them. The other part was, have any of your design philosophies changed? So Cisco has a lot of raised floor environments where they've got ducted returns. So I think they're using the CPI Chatsworth thing with the Venturi effect to go there. Have any of those things changed based on the acceptance of closely coupled cooling and raising inlet temperatures
Absolutely.
and all those? So it was a really good discussion.
And I think the important aspect of this is that what we found from the discussion was that as much as we already knew this and believed this, the industry is changing extremely quickly.
Yep.
And the amount of change that's occurred in the data center space over the last 3 to 5 years is probably roughly equal to what's changed in the last 20 years previous to that.
Yeah.
So this is an amazing time to be a data center owner, but it's also a time when many of us aren't able to get out there and get this kind of information. And again, back to the original points made here,
Yeah.
how can we pull people together and share that kind of information? An important output from this particular roundtable was that now people who don't have 100,000 square feet of data center space or 1,000,000 square feet of data center space got a chance to understand what some of the strategic thinking and what some of the concerns are coming from companies like eBay or
Yeah, from the
Apple
big
or
companies.
VMware or
Sure.
Sun.
Sure. Yeah, so all of this content was actually posted up. Now, we didn't videotape it, and we are going to do that in the future. That was posted up on datacenterpulse.com, so you can see that in the new blog that was up there. And I believe we've got a RSS feed as well,
That's
so you can
right.
subscribe to it.
Yep.
And the content, I mean, the questions that are coming from
Yeah,
LinkedIn.
so we've talked about some of the questions already, but very interesting relative to things like cost of ownership. You know, why would you build a high-density data center versus a low-density data center? Is it depends? Is it always one or the other? And that's a difficult question to answer because a lot of people don't understand all the dynamics that make up the question, the matrix of data center choices every time
Yeah.
you pick a data center.
Yeah.
From where it is to the local tax laws to the availability of labor
Yeah.
to what kind of compute infrastructure you're going to have in there, what kind of business your company does, what its growth plans are. I mean, you name it, right?
And the good thing is that, you know, we don't have all the answers. I mean,
Yeah.
absolutely not. We've got some experience. We built data centers for many years at many different companies, and I think the key is that we're sharing what we know, and then we're having that healthy dialogue and debate. But the questions that are coming up,
Yeah.
the process will be that we're going to take this content, like we were saying, strip it and put it back up on the website, and you'll see it through the blog, and then this stream is going to come. And the other one is, you know, I do travel a lot, and we want to do these live shows. So we want to go back into whatever the equivalent of AVCOM is in Spain.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be in Barcelona in 3 weeks, and I want to film a session there. I need to find data center owners that I can have that are independent, not with some sales company, and have them sit up here and do the exact same dialogue that we're doing right now, but a little more healthy debate. And then we'll start putting this back up on the website. You guys can comment on it, you can ask for more things. And the other part I think we were thinking is I'd love to go tour data centers.
Absolutely.
If companies would allow us to go back in with a camera, right? We don't have to name the company, we don't have to name the people there. It can be Joe Data Center or Jane Data Center,
Yep.
and go through that. I think it'd be very interesting for a lot of different
Yeah,
people.
we've got an enormous number of ideas for the website already that'll bring value from, you know, names of vendors to areas where there's opportunity for building data centers and anything and everything associated with data centers. But don't let us stay there. If you have an idea for what you'd like to see on the website,
Yeah.
you can either join up or you can submit questions or suggestions through the website, or you can do all three.
Yeah, and the other one is we want the community to go out and start doing more with this. So we are going to have a panel at one session. You should have a panel with your peers in the industry and ask these questions and send it back over to us and actually have us post it up on the website. So we will take that content from the people in the users group that actually are out there, and you can say which one of these they're going to be at. We can publish where they're going to be held, that type of thing. And again, around the world, we definitely want to see this. And the other thing is we need people in this group.
Yes, please send
So-
us your data center people.
Send us your data
Whether
center
they're
people.
facilities, whether they're IT,
You're
or
weak,
whether there's
you're hungry.
something in between. Starving, most data center people are, if they're not eating Twinkies. But
Yeah.
send them our way. We
Yeah.
again, you know, we're focused on the end user perspective. So we don't want marketing, we don't want external consulting, we don't want business development or recruiting.
Yep.
All of those folks are welcome to come to the website and gain knowledge from what's been gleaned from the professionals that are part of the board.
Or submit questions
Or
that we can
submit
post to
questions.
the group, which
That's
is
right.
really good too.
Yep.
So it's not it's an exclusive group, but the outside people can go back and say, I want to know about this. They may be developing a product. We can go back and say, is this viable to anybody? So definitely. So the key here is go tell your friends. You got data center owners, operators, peers in the industry. Get them over there. Get on LinkedIn. Send a request. Mark will filter,
Yep.
and it'll go forward. And send us your ideas. So thank you very much for watching the show,
Yep.
and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you.
Bring the beat back. Pump the beat now.